Okay, so we mentioned diagrams in the last video that hopefully you just watched. So this is going to be quite short, just talking about different types of diagrams that you get in different explanation texts. Don't worry, if you don't understand every diagram here, it's okay, as long as you understand most of them and understand the basic idea of what diagrams are. So the first example here of a diagram is the same one that is in page 81 of your learner's book that we were looking at. And it's called the line flow diagram. And basically this diagram shows you what order something happens in. So it starts off with one thing, and then it goes down to the second, to the third, to the fourth, to the fifth. So this is a good diagram if you're talking about something that has different steps. So if you think of the recipes you did last week, first you do this, then you do this, then you do that. So a diagram that has individual steps that go before and after each other, you can use a diagram like this with little arrows saying what happens next. The next diagram we'll look at, with a wonderful example from Noor, I think it is, here, is a mind map. Now we've done this type of diagram before in class and at home, and you did one last week. So a mind map is a diagram that has different ideas grouped in different ways. So you'll see with Noor's example that it starts with climate change and then little things come off, little ideas. So we're all familiar with mind maps. Right, so this is a circle or cycle flow diagram, it's sometimes called. So this is like the one that's on page 81 of your books, but the difference is with this example, it's a cycle, so it goes round in a circle. So this is a diagram of the water cycle. Now if you don't know what the water cycle is, that's okay, but basically it starts with evaporation of water, then clouds form, then something else happens, then something else, and then it goes back to the beginning, and it just goes round and round and round like a wheel. So the first diagram we looked at, the linear one, it starts somewhere and then it finishes somewhere different. When you cook, you start with eggs and flour and sugar, you end up with a cake. However, this circle one, like this, just never ends. It goes on and round and round. So you can use a diagram in a circle to show something that just goes on and on and on. Okay, this is an example of a pyramid diagram. The example here shows a food pyramid, and it's all about the different types of food. So we've spoken about this last term in IPC. So at the bottom you have your carbohydrates, then you have your vegetables and fruit, then going up you have your dairy and protein, and then at the top your oils, fats and sweets. Now it's not saying that oils, fats and sweets are at the top because they're the most important. It's because as you go up the pyramid, it gets smaller and smaller. So the most you need is carbohydrates at the bottom. It's the biggest part of the pyramid. Then fruits and vegetables is a little bit smaller. Then dairy and meat is a little bit smaller. And then oil, fats and sweets just a tiny bit at the top, because you don't need much of that. So a pyramid diagram is a good way of showing how the amount of something varies. So if you need lots of something, put it at the bottom, and then as it goes up, you need less and less. And then this one is called a Venn diagram. A Venn diagram, you have two circles that are joined. So if you look at the diagram here, there are two circles and then a little shape in the middle as well. So on the left, you have a cat. On the right circle, you have a dog. And then the bit in the middle are things that are both cats and dogs. So if you look at the cat, it says has 30 teeth, is solitary, means it lives on its own, and it meows. So these are things that only cats do, not dogs. On the right, where it says dogs, it says has 42 teeth, is social, so it lives with other people and other dogs, and it barks, makes a different noise. So these are things that only dogs do. Then in the green, in the middle, these are things that both cats and dogs have in common. So 4 legs. Yep, cats have 4 legs and dogs have 4 legs. It's a mammal. Cats are mammals and dogs are mammals. Lives with people. Yeah, you can have a cat in your house and you can have a dog in your house. So the bit in the middle where the circles join are things that both cats and dogs have in common. Then outside that bit in the middle, you have things on the left that only cats do and have things on the right that only dogs do. Now it's your turn. Part of your work today is I want you to think about the diagrams that I've just spoken about there. And I want you to draw a diagram about working at home and working at school. So obviously working at home and working at school are different, but there are some things in common as well. So you have to do maths, IPC and English. You have to do that at school and you have to do it at home. So think about which one of the diagrams we have looked at just now. Think about which one would be best for explaining this. And then draw the diagram and send a picture, okay? If you can't think about which diagram would be best, have another look at the video, and if you can't think, just email me, okay?